and welcome back to On Coireán, my Irish-inspired engaged model railway. Yes, welcome back to On Coireán, and I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Don't forget you can like, comment, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends, and hopefully give me some feedback on what you think about the railway. So last time we got the lights fitted to the buildings and the road surface done. So this time I'm hoping I'll get the curbs painted up. We'll get the platform built. We'll get the brewery building built, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we can start doing the grass work maybe and the beach, but we'll just have to see how we get on. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mix up some paint and or even use some of my Rebel paints and paint the curbs to be a different shade of grey to the road, and then I'll have to figure out how to fix these now without the light bleeding out from underneath them, and then I'll get on and I'll build the platform kit first, I imagine. So let's get started. Right, so we can start by just popping the buildings off of their spots for now. And I've got some Rebel Met 76, which is a light grey. And I've got to be careful not to get this onto the road surface itself. But it will just give a different shade of grey to the road. And hopefully it won't go too far down over the edge of the curbs. It would give a kind of, it'll have a darker edge to it as well. Well, that's the like I said, it's always the plan. The execution of that, we'll just have to wait and see. It's going on nicely anyways to the clapboard, so I'll switch over to speeded up film. So with the buildings fixed down and the curbs painted, and it's still glowing, I've tried to make it so that the light leaking out from underneath the buildings is gone. It might not necessarily be completely gone, but maybe we can put it down to some light shining out the windows onto the pavement. So the next thing to do is to use this engaged stone platform kit from Metcalfe, which is going to go, well, where the station is obviously, and what I will have to do is I'll have to make a sort of paper template of where the platform needs to go, and then I will be able to use the kit to shape my platforms, and then obviously I'll have to make it so that this building, it has a cutout, this building, so it will slide onto the back of the platform and be glued in place, and the platform signal box that I have will also need to be set on the platform and then glued in place as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on, I'm going to make a little template, and then I can start making this kit. So this is the station area, and I'll just move this little bit of platform out of the way. We've got a piece of card here. You can see the platform's coming out here. That could be the back of the platform, or we could go further back and add our wall or whatever to the back of that. And the platform will be sloping down to this end. And then we can take another piece of card This end of the template seems to have gone all right. This end is a little too narrow at the back, but I'm hoping I can fix that when I lay that over the platform tops. But we'll go get the kit open now and just stick this to it and see what we can do. So here we are at the desk with the Metcalfe Models Engaged Platform Kit, which, sticking out the packet, we have here. So basically the kits go together fairly standardly. You have a tarmac top to your platform, you have side walls, you have supports, and you have walls you can make at the back, and then you have top edging strips that can go on the top of the walls and on the backs to join the platforms and the backs together. And you've got these sort of card strips which also help keep things rigid. And obviously then you've got the platform walls themselves, and these have the end pieces for the ends of the platforms. You have to make sure you get these the right way around when you're putting the kit together, because otherwise you'll have your slope in the wrong angle. So we've got 2 sheets of those. And then we've also got some tarmac, and we've got some of these cardboard pieces to help put it together. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put our tarmac sheets, and we need to get our platform top, and we need to mark it out, or rather attach it to the top and see how we get on. There we have our platform top. So we can go check this out now on the railway. So we now have our finished platform top piece that's going to have a hole cut in it for the wires. We can see now that it's going to fit in like so, and this platform will obviously slot into the station building like so, and that's roughly how it will sit, like that. So now we can get on with building the base of the platform. So I've removed the masking tape from the top, I've taped the 2 pieces together, and I've trimmed it a little bit to make it a bit neater. And we've got these pieces which actually go underneath it. These are the walls that hold up the platform. So we have to cut this sheet along this line. So we could use a sloping piece like this at the back behind the platform, but the wall I'm going to have will probably extend past the end of here at the back, so we'll only need to use a support cut, at least at that end. But obviously I've got another sheet, so I could do it if I wanted to. What I might still do is just to have the brick pattern all round, just so it looks better. So we've got a strip here, and we've got another one here, and we'll take off the excess and start positioning it, fold them over to thicken them, etc, etc. Now before we fold them over and glue them to make doubly thick, we actually have to measure where the overlap is going to be between the 2 pieces, because they are too long. And you can see, even though it's a little bit out of focus, that we're going to have a bit of an issue with the overlap of pieces. So what we want to do is we want to put one on, figure out where that's going to go, and then put the other one on, and make sure that that reaches the end as well. And that'll give us a rough idea of where to cut. Now, it's a good idea to make sure we've got an excess, so it will be easier to trim. So we're just going to trim that like that. And now we can fold them over and glue them. So with them folded over and glued, and the glue is still drying a bit, we can now put these back along the platform edge, and we get an idea of the length of each piece. Make doubly sure that we have enough, and we do, and we have the overlap as well, so we know that that piece is going to be that long, this piece is going to be that long, wants to go about that. And that looks like it should go right. So we can join these pieces together with the offcut that we took off just a second ago. I'm just making sure that the platforms are nice and curved, flexible for when they're going to be attached to the platform top. So that part then is going to dry, and then I will start assembling the rest of it. So this piece is pretty much dry, and it will be strengthened when we're assembling the platform, but the next piece is the piece that goes along the back. So the next step is to mark on where the ramps are going to be. We take our long piece, and you can see now that that lines up with that. If my fingers weren't in the way. And so you can see that slopes down that way. So that's how that's going to work, but we will have to add in some extra supports, obviously, to allow it to stay. So what we will do is we will line that up, and I will cut out some of these carved pieces to help it stick together. So before we can add the front wall of the platform, we've got the ledging strips, which I pre-cut out because it was easier to do it off camera. But these are just like little strips of card, and you run a bead of glue along them and stick them along the front of where your platform wall is going to go. And now we can attach the front wall of that, hopefully. So we're going to run a bead of glue along the inside of where we've just put this cardboard. I say bead, it's more like a glue. Don't worry about the excess because we can use that in a minute. Right. So we're going to pop that and make sure it's the right way up, and it's going to go in position like so, and that tucks in there. We go. It allows you to get the alignment right, you see, at the front of the front of the thing. So what we can actually do is we can get our scissors and we can snip off a little bit of this wall here because it's too long. There we are. And that comes up nicely to there. Just add a spot of glue there in the corner to hold everything in place. I just need a bit more glue inside here.
Can never have too much glue. Too little and everything falls apart. Too much and everything stays nicely. Now, the next step of what we have to do is about securing the wall piece to the platform top. I'm going to dob some glue in there. So I've got these little cardboard folding sections, and you just put some glue on those and pop them on like that. Now with the back wall of the platform, we don't have to worry about the lip, as it were, so we can just glue them straight to this kind of flush with the edge. We can just snip off the excess a little bit there at the end and bring that up together like that. And that should stay there. Now we've got some more of these cardboard pieces just to attach to the rear of it. The next job is to do the wall along the back here, which is easy enough. You just get these wall sections, and as before, you fold them along their fold line, and that becomes one part of your wall. And then you can take another piece of card and sandwich that between, and then you take another one and put it on the other side, and then when that's all glued together, you can lay a capping strip over the top, and that gives you the top of your wall. So hopefully we'll only need about 2 sections of this to do the back wall, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start cutting this out and sticking it together. We have our sections now and we can glue them together, hopefully. I don't think I'll need an extra bit of support in between because that'll be 4 bits of cards stuck together like so. Hopefully it'll be grand as it is. Right, so we've got those 2 sections now to be glued together. Then we can add the capping stones to the top, the wall end stones, and the platform edging. So I've added these extra supports, and that's hopefully going to keep everything right. We can do the back wall. So we've got the short section here and the long section to go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some glue once again along this, and I think I'm going to go that way. No, I'm going to go that way because that's the straighter edge and I want that to butt up against the station building. So I'm going to grab the station once I put the initial glue of these on, and then see whether that's done correctly. So just to show you, that's what it looks like with the pencil on it. It's out of focus, but you can see white, grey. Just sticks the end caps on. I've got here, we just put a double glue on the inside of that and wrap it around, and hopefully it will all stick together nicely and not look too rubbish. And just that piece there. There we go, that's one. We have another one here, so we're going to go stick the glue on that and wrap that around the end there. There we go. Got the edging strip here. We start on this edge and we just overlap that slightly over where we've gone and put the tiles at the edge of the tarmac. There. And now we can go see how that looks on the railway. So we've got the platform ready and the edging strips attached, and now it's just a case of getting the platform into the right position. So this is the view of the station as it shall be. It isn't quite in alignment. I think it needs to be slightly further along. I don't know if that's easy to do or not, but that bit will sit. It'll sit for slightly further back, I think, and we can add in some scatter and stuff and paint it grey down here to be alright. I think the wires for the lights are affecting it slightly, but there you go. That'll be roughly how it looks, and I think it looks pretty good. From this angle, you can see we've got the signal box with its door leading out onto the platform, and the platform curving away before this siding. The adhesive strip there's come up a little, so hopefully it will be glued and settled fine. But while this is, finally gluing, and I figure out how I'm going to fix it down properly, probably with the same glue I used to build the actual platforms, I'll hand over to myself in Coireán, having a look at a big metal bridge. Right, well, you join me on the shores of the Great Bertha River on the way into Coireán, and behind me is the 914-foot span of the viaduct crossing the river. So there are two sections of 60 foot either side, and then 7 100-foot spans crossing the river. And the line comes down from Kells about 6 miles further up, and came into Coireán, opened in 1893 in September 11, to a big crowd, and closed in February of 1960. And now it is rusting away into the river and too dangerous to go on. But it is going to be reconstructed, hopefully, in a greenway, which is a cycleway, which is following the old railway line. So, as you can see, it crosses the river, and I will get some footage of it, but sadly we cannot go up on top of it because it is too dangerous. It's a nice calm day here. I imagine in the winter, it had to be tough enough to withstand the bad weather. And it's still here, after all the bad weather we've had. But enough waffling, I'm going to get some footage, and I'll explain more in the voiceover. here we are on top of the bridge. This is where the fence is. A nice tree growing there. And as you can see, the metal plates have completely rusted away. You can see kind of like the sort of guard check rails, where the rails would have been laid in between. And as you can see, it's not in the best state. You wouldn't be wanting to walk along there. But the view is good from up here. And just imagine what the view must have been like crossing over this viaduct. So this is about as close as we get to being able to see the full way down. If you go online, you can probably find some drone shots of it from above, but I don't have one. But you can actually see the rivets. You can count them if you want. So I'm actually stood on the stone sort of parapet leading out over to the metal sections. So we've got two 60-foot sections, and then the 7 100-foot, and then 2 more 60-foot sections. But I mean, what a fantastic piece of engineering. But the bridge comes ashore is where the old town park is, and this is now the former track bed of the railway. So we're going along here towards the barracks, and there is the 1930s rebuild of the 1840s road bridge. So we're here now on the track bed looking towards the level crossing at the foot of the barracks, and I think it was a double track crossing that ended over here. There was a head shunt, and then obviously it continued to go that way, which is kind of interesting. But in this location there used to be a C-class diesel, I think number 227, maybe 226, 227, that used to be here that you could get inside for a number of years, which is not here anymore. And as you can see, there is a big wall in the way of where the track bed used to go. At the other side of this wall, on the right hand side, would have been the carriage shed, and on the left hand side would have been the goods facilities. Rusted pieces of metal here actually look like rails, but whether they are or not I don't know. This is the side minerals building. I don't know whether this is in date with the railway line or not. And over here we have the view of part of where the track bed was. Again, this is all where the goods facilities were, and the cattle docks. Yeah. The barracks in the background. A large part of the station site is now taken up by the legal aid board. We have the sort of entrance to the station site, which is now a bit of a wasteland. I mean, we're more or less now where the station was. As you can see, it has ceased to be. Although, we'll go for a walk along here now and see where we come out. So, the station would have been here, and trains would have run down all the way to Valentia Harbour, but there were no turning facilities at Valentia Harbour. So, yeah, the trains actually came back up and stabled overnight here at the engine shed in Coireán, where there was also a turntable. And you can see now all of this land was sort of reclaimed from the water's edge to make the station area. So now we've just got this lovely overgrown patch where once trains came through for 67 years, and there's almost no trace whatsoever. So we're kind of stood at the end of where the platform would have been. I'm on the track bed, I believe now. There's some people kayaking over there. And here we are roughly looking at where the engine shed was, I believe, and the turntable. Now it's all kind of vastly overgrown. I'm not even going to go wandering into that. Let's see if we can get down this way, still following the track bed. here we are, coming up. Oh dear. I think he might have sunk. Yeah, I don't think there's much use trying to go into that wilderness to look for remnants, because I think they had an actual hotel built here or something afterwards. So it's all gone. There's nothing left of the station. And here we come into the marina, which is a working harbour. And so as we walk back around out of the marina back towards the road, we have, as you can see by the change in the wall, this is essentially where the level crossing would have been on the other side of the station. And I don't know if my camera will be able to see very high up, but the former track bed is obviously the other side of this wall, which you see is older than the other wall. And so the railway continued that way, in a place called Back the Tracks, essentially, all the way to Ledger Harbour. And that's about it. Right, so back into the room and away from Coireán, it's time to look at building the Ramshackle Workshop, which is going to be the brewery for the little railway. So I haven't opened one of these before. This kit. So hopefully it's not too complicated. Here we are. So we've got an actual proper booklet with colours now, telling you how to make it up. Sheet A, sheet L1, and just have a look at this. So it just tells you how to make it, and there are other people out there that have videos on YouTube about how to build this kit, so I'm not really going to run through how to do it. I'm just going to get on and build it, and I'll show you how it's going. And obviously I'll have to figure out any modifications for the lights. So yes, right, it's all very okay. Right, I'm going to get started, and I'll show you when I've got some of this basic stuff done. Well, as you can see here, there's the wire's got to come up here, so I'll have to put a hole in the middle of the floor. This is the inner frame, and then maybe a hole into the upper floor as well, so we can have a light up the top and lights down the bottom. So now we have the thing constructed, I can take some paint and I can go over some of these white lines where things have been folded, and hopefully they won't stand out quite so much. And then we have the watercolours done now. I've sort of gone around as much as the white areas as possible. I could just put a tiny bit of red across the top where we put these tiles. But we have that done now. And all that's left to do will be to add the brewery name to it when that's dry. And as you can see, I've done a little bit of moss work because it can be a bit wet and kerry, so maybe it's got a little bit damp in places. I think it looks really good. So the next step will be to name it and attach it to the railway. So with the paintwork now dry, we can look at doing the signage. And I've decided to do this Ramshackle Workshop up as the local brewery, even though obviously the local brewery is quite new. It wasn't around in the time of steam railways. But I'm going to decorate this Ramshackle Workshop to look like a brewery with the branding of our local brewery, if that makes sense. So behind it is a selection of the beers that are from the local brewery. There's an IPA, which I'm quite fond of. There's a lovely red ale, and then also there's a brand new lager as well, just sort of on the light, crisp, refreshing side of lager, and it's quite nice. I normally say there's two things that I'd rate a lager by. Would it be nice on a nice sunny hot day outside, maybe at the beach, and would it go well with the curry? And I seem to think so. So I've got these coasters which hopefully I'll be able to use the branding of at the bottom to attach to the front. But we'll find out whether I can now by, well, cutting one up. Hopefully that will fit on above that door, like that. We just trim the top corner here a bit more. It should fit in perfectly. There. Right. Just get on glue. If there's any left. I'll put it on the back of the coaster there. And then we can pick that up. And there. Now. That has worked quite well, I think. I don't know if I can add more branding to it. I think what I might do is, I've got some leftover bits of the laser cut metcalfe stuff and make a little sign. It can go a little bit larger than I've cut out this, and I can have that on the layout outside the brewery. But once that's glued, I can hopefully attach it to the railway now. Now we're going to fit the brewery to the layout, and in order to do this we have to thread the lights inside. And I've got them turned on so I can try and use the light inside to see where I'm going, because I've got to thread it up through the floor. There, like that. Now we can fix that down with a bit of glue, hopefully. About there. Kind of like backing onto the railway. There. And then we'll have a little bit of a platform here, hopefully. And add that to that step there. That'll give me a front step in front of there. Move that into position like that. There. It's gone too far now. Come back. There. And so with the glue drying, hopefully things will stay in place. I've glued this down now. I've glued the signal box to the platform and the station and the platform down to the board. I've glued down the signal box at the back. I haven't done the goods shed just yet because I want to make sure that it's in the right position, test it with rolling stock maybe between episodes. And I've repaired the damage to the bottom of the engine shed with some leftover card from the platform kit. And I've glued the water tower to that, so it's all one unit. And it's hiding a big hole in the side of the shed, which I did patch up
with some of the platform stuff a little bit uneven. So the water tower was there to help hide that. So I think that's gone quite well. And I know it's been a very card kit heavy episode. Next time I should be able to get the grass on, and I should be able to do the sand and the stones, and maybe even get some rolling stock going on it, making sure it all works. So hopefully it'll be more or less finished, except for maybe a few small details in the next episode. So that'll be interesting. But for now, that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you once again for tuning in. And don't forget you can like, comment, share and subscribe. And thanks to everyone who has subscribed. I see the numbers are creeping up again, which is always good. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And join me again for On Coireán. Right, let's make plans about what to do next time. Ta-ra. Oh, and don't forget there's also the subscribe button on the playlist thing. I'm off now. See you.